Hello, hello, hello. All right. And now I am looking for Cindy Borassi. She's going to be joining me to talk about the Colon Cancer Foundation. Hooray! Guys, every time I learn how to use technology, it's so good to know that I just waved at her instead of asking her to join me. Gosh, every time, guys. Every time. Hey, Cindy, can you request to join and then I can click on you? This is why professors shouldn't be allowed to use the internet, friends. This is why you're watching it right now. It's an exciting time. Oh, there you are, you beautiful creature. This is gonna work. I believe in us. My prayer hands have come out. It's gonna happen, guys. I'm sending a request. She's gonna join. Hello, friends. Thanks for being witness to my humiliation as we figure this out. I love you so much for watching me struggle. The sweaty hands have commenced. Hello, Vancouver. Hello, Liverpool. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, Cindy, you just have to accept my request. I'm going to sing a song about how I believe in us. Just joking. It's going to go, no, I'm just joking. I won't sing it. Doesn't everyone have this on their Zoom call? The moment they realize that someone can hear them or then can't hear them, is unable to join. No, we're going to do it. So, March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month. Here we go. We're doing it.
I was sending requests to join over and over.
Oh my gosh, it's not your fault. This is just how it is. It is the weirdest, sweatiest kind of way to do a live connection.
It is. Can you see me? Because there's this big gray bar across my face.
Oh no, yes. Well, you're a little bit low. You look like you're very small now, and now you are.
I look like I'm a munchkin. Let me see. Hang on. Technology, right?
No, it's my favorite. I'm so glad that when I got a PhD in American religious history, they gave me about 200 books on the Puritans and absolutely none on learning to be useful.
Okay, how about now?
Yeah,
okay.
You're a medium-sized height and I love it. Hey, Cindy, thanks so much for doing this. Hello. I am so glad we could do this. I'm just getting to know the work of the Colon Cancer Foundation, so I'm so pleased we could make this connection. And I wondered if you could just tell people a little bit about the kind of work that you all do and how you got involved.
Well, we try to prevent colon cancer from ever happening. We are dedicated to a world without this terrible disease. And I do what I do every day, and I'm inspired to do what I do every day by people like you.
Aww.
Quite simply put, that's it in a nutshell. That's what inspires me to get up and come into this big bright yellow office every day with crazy signs like that behind me.
Can you read it for me?
It says, "Get your butt over here." And we literally take that out on the street with us, and we use it in front of a large inflatable walk-through colon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. When my kids ask me what I do, they're now teenagers, so they kind of get it, but they still don't really get it.
Everyone who knows me felt that this was the most ironic of cancers that I could receive, because I am always the most, like, in a group of people, I am always the most hesitant and the most Canadian about, just most body functions. And so the fact that I'm having to get so much more comfortable, but that's part of what we have to do in terms of like increasing awareness, I imagine, is that you're just like breaking down some of the stigma around talking about this like very basic part of our health.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, one of our campaigns that we have going on right now, well, one of the things that we pride ourselves on as a foundation, we go pretty out of the box and we get pretty edgy. And so one of our campaigns, I want to thank two of our sponsors because I was told to do this, is well, we're partnering with Duclaw Brewery and Squatty Potty. I don't know if you've heard of Squatty Potty, but talk about a company that makes your bodily process, you feel more comfortable with that. That's definitely Squatty Potty. But the campaign's called Give a Crap. The Give a Crap Challenge. And so you want to know what we do. This is basically what we do. And it's all about getting people to give a crap about themselves.
Yeah.
And about colon cancer. And it's breaking down the stigma about this disease and telling people it's not an old white man's disease. It affects people like Kate, who are much younger than that, and who aren't old. And we've just got to start talking about it.
Especially, I just imagine too, especially because so many of us are putting off screenings, putting off doctor's appointments, things that we think we can just kind of kick down the road a little bit. Sounds like talking more. I mean, no one goes on Instagram and is like, well, I just got my colonoscopy today. I just really wanted to share that with you, Brad, my high school love interest. But the truth is, I imagine that you're really concerned about the number of colonoscopies that have been put off since we're isolated and since preventative. It sounds like preventative screenings are the numbers are down. Is that right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the CDC used the word catastrophic for the number of screenings that we've missed due to COVID-19. And I mean, they don't use that word lightly. No public health agency uses that word lightly. And so the estimates are that at one point in the pandemic, really, I would say around, May, we were down about 90%. And that was 1.7 million colonoscopies missed.
Wow. Yeah.
And so now, just to give you perspective, here in the United States, screening 3 years ago, we moved screening down to the guidelines, American Cancer Society, down to 45 is when now they're recommending you start getting screened. But it was 50. But before that, 1 in 3 Americans were not getting screened at the age of 50. 1 in 3.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was before we moved it down to 45.
Yeah.
Then you throw in a pandemic and you've missed 1.7 million screenings. And then you throw in now moving it down to 45. That's 20 million more Americans between the ages of 45 to 49 we need to screen. And you've got just a problem on your hands. So, we're really dedicated as a foundation to telling people, what I want to share today with people is there are multiple options, safe options for getting screened other than a colonoscopy. Now, colonoscopy is still the gold standard because you go in, you find the problem, and you solve it early, and you prevent colon cancer from ever happening, right? Yeah. But there are safe, effective at-home tests you can do right now in your home. You can get the results on your cell phone if you can, work it right, right? But yeah, so you can do that today and right now in the middle still, some of us are still in lockdown, but that's what I really want to tell people today.
Where could people go to get an at-home test?
Believe it or not, you can actually order some through Target. You can order some online through Amazon now.
Amazing.
And that's if you're 45 or 50 and average risk. But the other really important thing here to remember is that if you have a family history of this disease, if you have a parent or you have a sibling who's had colon cancer, or even if they've had a colonoscopy and they've had a polyp or what we call an adenoma, then you're increased risk and you really should call your doctor today before 5 o'clock, wherever you are, and you should talk to them because you're at an increased risk. Yeah. Or if you have a hereditary syndrome like Lynch running in your family, you need to get screened earlier and you need to pick up the phone again today or tomorrow and you need to have that conversation. Really important. Yeah.
Wow. When you describe the kind of the effect of delay, it reminds me of the work of my friend Ari Johnson, and he talks about the violence of delay, that people forget that there is a cumulative weight that it bears the longer we put things off. And it's so easy to put off something like this, but I mean, if anyone has ever gotten a colonoscopy or scared of one, it is really not that big of a deal. It's just the initial momentum to make the phone call or to just start the conversation, especially if it's not something you imagine yourself having. But like,
Right.
I never imagined myself having, I mean, I don't have, I am the only person in my family that has cancer. We didn't have, and I was bounced around between doctors for about 6 months with stomach pain before I used a very, very loud voice and refused to leave an office until they scheduled a scan. I mean, it's so easy, I think, with young people. Like, why do you think there has been such maybe a new attention to young people? How can people sort of gain a little confidence in trusting I wish I'd had a little bit more trust in my own body to say, like, hey, actually, like, you should look again, because it feels unbearable. So I imagine it is unbearable.
Yeah. That's one of the things that so in our mission, we use the word advocacy, and it's not necessarily, a lot of people think advocacy is lobbying on the Hill, right? In Washington, or where, the Capitol. It's advocating for yourself. And I think knowing yourself and knowing your body is really important. And I think, I say this all the time. It really has to start down in pediatrics and with parents talking to their kids. Like, it does need to become more normal of talking about your poop. I mean, and what that normalcy is, and if you're not comfortable, like, of really beating the drum, and if you're not happy with the answer you're getting from your provider, stomach pain, ongoing stomach pain is not normal. And blood in your stool in the toilet is not normal. I mean, even if you have hemorrhoids for 8 months and blood is not normal. I mean, so there's got to be a fix to it. So being your advocate is really important. So and so that's the other thing. You make a good point, Kate, that with colon cancer on the rise in so many young people, I mean, it's like 1 in 7 cases now.
Wow.
And one of the staggering statistics, I did a podcast earlier today, the most rapidly rising rates are in the age group 20 to 29. And that's even more heavily weighted rectal cancer. And that's just staggering to me. I'm a mom of 2 teenagers, so I'm a little hyper vigilant now, but they hear poop talk all the time in my car. But so we really need our parents to be aware of this, and we need, you're talking, if kids are getting diagnosed with stage 4 rectal cancer at the age of 20, it's been going on for a while. So you're talking about reaching kids in their teens at high school, on college campuses. So, we're really as a foundation trying to think outside of the box. Where do we have to have these conversations? And it definitely is on Instagram. It's on TikTok. It's on, I don't even know what new thing exists out there that my kids are using. Probably some secret code that I don't even know, but they're really important conversations to have.
Another one of the aspects of this too, I imagine, is also important to you, is the way that suffering isn't evenly distributed, that there are some populations who are more at risk, not for necessarily for cancer, but just to not have received the right messaging, the right care, so what are some of the ways the foundation is really thinking about some of the socioeconomic inequalities among people who are going to get access and care for colon cancer?
Well, I mean, COVID-19 definitely shined a really bright spotlight on this issue, right? I mean, we saw it was unavoidable, the health inequities and disparities, that was inescapable, right? And so the foundation has definitely said, as put forth a goal, a big, hairy, audacious goal for ourselves to address that issue head on. And so, we have set a fundraising goal for ourselves to be able to provide 10,000 screenings in underserved and underinsured communities in the New York City area, which is where we're based, but then also throughout the country. And we've actually already made a really significant dent. We've actually partnered with Walgreens on this, and we have a campaign up. It's called letsgetscreened.org. So it's a awareness page. You can get more information on colon cancer, on the impact COVID's had. But so we're actually going to be partnering with hospitals, for example, like Montefiore in New York City, and we'll be starting in some of the poorest urban zip codes in the country to address populations like you were just saying. I mean, these are communities that have low broadband, if any at all, access to services like telehealth.
Yeah.
There are literacy barriers, language barriers, there are transportation issues. So what struck me about your talk when I first saw it, Kate, you were saying, I'm a Duke professor. I came through the Duke system. I had access to the best healthcare probably in the world, right? And look what happened. So
yeah, I could walk down a hall from my office and yeah, I mean, I think a lot about, like, no one who is suffering is ever lucky. No one is ever lucky who has cancer. But like, access is such a painful issue when so few of us even have the opportunity to try. And I just have so much, you spend a lot of time in infusion rooms, like in the cancer clinic, just like looking around and what brought everybody through that door. And I'm just so glad to hear that you're so devoted to thinking about who gets to be in that room.
Yeah, and it's not to minimize, it's not to say that your suffering is worth any less than someone else's. That's not really what this is all about, right? Or anyone's care is less important, right? It's everyone. And that's another thing that we really advocate for, is that everyone should have equal access to quality of life, fertility preserving care, no matter where they're treated. Yeah. So it should be the same. And I mean, Montefiore is one of the best hospital systems in the country. So we're really lucky to be partnering with them on this. And, we're really excited about that. So
yeah. Yeah.
The other initiative I wanted to mention too is, we still don't know why early onset is happening, and so we've set up the first colorectal cancer patient registry, and we hope to put 1,000 patients in that registry to get 1,000 people to sign up.
That's great.
And so that will bring 1,000 patients' data, into the registry, and then we'll be able to open that up for free to researchers around the globe, and they'll be able to study all of their records and hopefully help us understand what's driving this rapid onset in this younger age group. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that is such a pressing issue. I know too. Especially with young people, it is not the sexiest of cancers. It is not even the most, when I just as a woman, I thought, you think breast cancer, you think it's much easier to reference other kinds. And so just realizing like colorectal cancer is one of the most preventable in terms of the ability to, I have to say, I feel incredibly grateful to be able to have it be in an organ that can be easily checked.
Right?
I am so fortunate. I am so fortunate for that. And I know it's hard when it doesn't always give you like an experience of, no one wants to like belong to a cancer club, but just knowing that there's amazing people out there who are working on our behalf, who care deeply about the reasons why we don't or do get the kind of care we need. And just be able to bring some joy to it. I recently did a 5K for colorectal cancer, and my team, we got t-shirts that just read, "We've got the runs," which was the worst thing I've ever said, and had on a t-shirt, which I really appreciated. I know, on my podcast, we love having conversations with people about how they navigate really difficult times. I know that's also really near and dear to your heart, about like offering people resources to like, not just like, I mean, there's so many layers to becoming like diagnosed, finding access, finding survivorship, etc. What are some of the ways that you help people navigate this very confusing terrain?
Well, our website is the first. I mean, you could stop there or start there. And
Yeah.
then we actually have every year we host a summit. It's primarily focused on early age onset, and it's a great resource. We bring in researchers, clinicians, patients, and caregivers from all over the globe. And unfortunately, we're going to be virtual this year, or fortunately, I should say, because we actually doubled and tripled our audience live last year.
Amazing.
And we were
Yeah.
able to reach, through the videotaping of it and the social media presence we had last year, over 5 million people.
Wow.
Yeah, so we were just thrilled
Congratulations.
with being able to do that. So we're
Yeah.
we're live virtual on May 14th, 15th, and 16th,
Wonderful.
and so we're looking forward to that. And let's see what else. Yeah, so there's just a bunch of resources on our website that I think is a great starting point. And they run from, we call it the continuum of care. So hopefully of preventing it from ever happening, because there is, the good news, like you were saying, it's a preventable disease.
Yeah.
A lot of colon cancer cases can be prevented through diet and exercise, believe it or not. So that's one thing. And then screening.
Yeah.
Getting tested. Yeah.
Cindy, thank you so much for being such a powerful advocate for folks like me. I mean, none of us want to be in this club, so the fact that you picked it on purpose brings me just really is so heartening. Thank you for caring. Thank you for your devotion to awareness. I hope that anyone who sees this knows just how easy it is to find out the information that they would need to get themselves screened, to figure out what their risk category is, and then because for most people, it is fine. It's just better to know. It's just so much better to know either way. Thanks for making that. Thanks so much for being with me and for making this conversation possible. I'm really grateful.
Well, thank you. I'm glad we got it to work.
I never trust myself. I never do. So what website should they go to as their first stop again? Tell me one more time.
So they can visit coloncancerfoundation.org.
Perfect. And I hope they go see that summit. Amazing, amazing. Thanks so much, Cindy. I hope we talk again soon.
Okay. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.